Welcome back. We have John Frankel here today, and of course John Frankel is with Third Mutual, and today we're going to talk about a couple different topics. Earthquake preparedness along with disaster preparedness kind of go hand in hand, and there's been a lot of meetings going on about that. So that's something that, of course, whether you're in Third or if you're in United at all, you kind of want to get a handle on, because it's always great to be prepared. John, good to see you today.
Good morning, Ken.
So tell us about this. There was a presentation last week, right? Or actually, yeah,
Yes.
It was last week. I'm looking at the dates. That's right. February was just last week.
Well, I'm going to discuss earthquake preparedness and disaster preparedness. And there was a presentation at Clubhouse 5 last week, and it was put on by the California Earthquake Authority. Mr. Glenn Pomeroy was there. Those folks at the California Earthquake Authority handle all of the earthquake insurance here in California. And he discussed the types and the extent of coverage. And then we had Dan Yost, who is our earthquake specialist here from VMSI, and he also presented. And he discussed the types of coverage that we have and the types of coverage that is not held.
Right.
And he reminded us that the types of coverage is different in Third than it is in United.
Right.
Yeah. But basically, in United, earthquake coverage covers all of the components inside the house, but in Third, everything outside the paint is covered, but nothing inside the paint.
Right, exactly.
So I was surprised, and as a consequence of the presentation, that there is no coverage for loss of use. And what that means, and I think those who are watching this should be interested also, what that means is if you have to go to a hotel or a motel, it's not covered.
Right.
And that's a significant element. And so I'm going to look into that. The manor owner is responsible for all of the interior portions in Third,
Right.
like cabinets and toilets and that sort of thing. So this coverage is called H06. It's handled by the California Earthquake Authority, and I'm going to very much consider it. I've heard that it's really not all that expensive. Somebody told me, and this is just hearsay from one fellow, that it's only about $400 a year. And of course, it depends on the extent of coverage and
yeah,
the
and
value.
your deductible and that sort of thing.
Of course. And then in addition, there was a presentation by Mr. Frank Garcia of Allstate. But the point is, your insurance company, whichever insurance company you have, will carry the H06 or manage to get you the H06, and it's the H06 is the earthquake coverage. It's also important to know that Mr. Pomeroy will along with OCFA, Orange County Fire Authority, will be presenting again this week. As a matter of fact, on Wednesday, March 8th, at the City Hall.
Yes, they'll be having a very good presentation there.
And the presentation was terrific at Clubhouse 5, and they'll do the same thing at from 9:30 to 11:30 on Wednesday, and I would strongly recommend it. And unfortunately, I have another commitment. I can't make it, but they will be presenting again.
Yeah, and everyone is welcome to go to that.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
it's open to the
you don't have to register for it. Just head on over there to City Hall coming up on Wednesday, March 8th.
Now, for a slight change of topic, but still with regard to earthquakes, a bunch of us, about 18 folks from Laguna Woods, including VMSI staff and folks from United and the Towers, and Third went out to Caltech in Pasadena January 17th of this year for a presentation regarding the earthquakes and earthquake damage and the extent of faults and where the nearby faults are. And as a consequence of that, Third's has put together a earthquake task force. The Third Mutual Finance Committee is running that, and this task force will be meeting shortly, and it's chaired by Steve Parsons, who's the financial chairman, the financial officer for Third Mutual, and we will I'm on that task force, and we'll make sure that more information is presented. The purpose of the task force is to address the earthquake insurance coverage the threat has, and perhaps there may be some changes in the wind.
Okay, very good.
Okay. Second subject, disaster preparedness. Now, this is kind of interesting, and I was not aware that this was going on, but I attended the United Disaster Preparedness Committee last Friday, as a matter of fact, and the discussion centered around a disaster preparedness plan that's being developed by the Laguna Woods VMSI staff. Supervisor Roger Cowdery is a key player, along with Tim Moy, in developing this plan. And the preliminary plan has been completed and will be presented to security next week. And then, of course, the GRF Security and Community Access Committee will be running this thing. They hired a consultant to develop this plan.
Right.
So it's done professionally. And it centers around block captains and cul-de-sac captains, and then building captains for large buildings with multiple manors. And some of our manors have 20, 22. Some of our buildings have 20, 3-story buildings in third. And so there is a building captain for each of those. And there was an article in the Globe on February 23rd on page 14, and I strongly recommend those interested in the block captain business or want to find out more about disaster preparedness read that article. My wife has read the article, and she decided that she'd like to perhaps be a cul-de-sac captain.
Okay.
So she's going to go to some cul-de-sac training.
Right.
Chief Moy is going to hold it tomorrow at Clubhouse 7 at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Further block captain captain training.
Right, exactly. And again, people, if you are interested in this, it's going to be at Clubhouse 7 at the main lounge from noon until 2 o'clock tomorrow. You don't have to register. Just stop by if that's what you would like to do, right?
Right, and here's a phone number.
Yeah, the phone number is 949-597-4237.
For any of those who are in.
Yeah, so if you have, again, you don't have to register, but if you have questions about it, please call that number.
Thank you.
All right, very good. Are you going to attend?
Yes, I'm going to try to.
Okay, very good. Always good to see you, John.
Thank you very
Take
much.
care.
Thank
We'll
you
see you
very
next
much.
time. You take care, and we'll be right back.